10 years ago, a new breed of celebrity was born.
First performance could also be your last.
But these weren't the usual suspects.
We lay the foundations for the beast that has become reality television.
They were ordinary people with extraordinary stories.
Please, God, help me to become a vet.
They were thrust into the spotlight.
So every day was like a live performance without any dress rehearsal.
They were accidental heroes.
I look like such a tool.
You run, Saz.
Let's return to Lakesiders. 10 years ago, a brand new docu-soap transported us to a place very close to our hearts and our wallets. The wonderful world of shopping.
Good morning, Lakeside! Have a good time.
The series would take us to one of the style capitals of Europe. Well, Essex. And just as that series about the East End had been called EastEnders, so those clever TV people called their series about Lakeside, Lakesiders. You see what they've done. Brilliant. And there was a talented cast waiting to be discovered, like Perfume girl Emma, who knew how to pull in the male customers.
They wanted you to tell them as a girl what you should be buying their girlfriend, so of course I showed them the most expensive, beautiful perfumes.
Feisty WPC Marianne.
Has this gentleman come and hacked your garden hedges down? You have damaged property that doesn't belong to you.
Sometimes, if you dealt with men and that, they would try and run roughshod over you because they thought they could.
It's no good hiding under that silver foil.
Cheeky paramedic Andreas.
We're either going to put you in the oven and roast you.
There's a real buzz at the end of it, that knowing that actually you've helped them, and without your help there, they would be in trouble.
And manager Richard Belt.
A lot of fun going on, a lot of activity, a lot of aggravations as well.
But who was going to watch a programme about a shopping mall? Surely that's a place you go to, buy stuff and then leave. No, this had all the drama of a real soap opera. Crime.
See the bags come back in?
Try him.
He's fast though, isn't he? He's fast. Fast on his toes.
It's the arterial bleeding.
Medical emergencies. Romance.
No talking.
High drama. And ambition.
You can ride it in a leather bed.
And every week, 10 million viewers tuned in to ride the emotional roller coaster that was Lakesiders. We've assembled some of the cast to tell us what it was like to have their everyday working lives filmed, and what happened to them since their 30 minutes of fame. But before we get on to that, a short history of the mall. In 50s America, everyone was moving to the suburbs, so they built huge out-of-town shopping malls with huge car parks.
Southdale, tomorrow's Main Street, today.
And Britain's shopping centre tomorrow. It wasn't until 1976 that we Brits got our first taste of this brave new world of shopping in glamorous, trend-setting Brent Cross. Destination shopping was born.
I've not seen anything like this before.
I think it's one of the best precincts and shopping centres I've been in.
Let's just hope they have an optician's.
It certainly must have cost a lot of money.
In the 80s, the Metro Centre in Gateshead upped the ante with a fun fair. And a dancing dragon thing. The star of our show, Lakeside, opened its doors in 1993. It had 280 shops and 3,000 staff, eager to assist the 500,000 weekly shoppers. One of them was Emma Boundy.
I was working at Lakeside, went to my car in the car park, and on the windscreen wiper was a little leaflet saying, would you like to be on television? If you want to get involved, give them a call on this number. And I just threw it in my car and went home and forgot all about it. I was too shy to go forward and say, put me on the programme, because I knew that as soon as someone put a camera in front of me, I would just, see what I mean? Exactly, there you go.
Emma was shy, but she had everything the producers were looking for. She was tall, she was blonde, she was glamorous, and she smelt nice.
I was a counter manager for one of the perfume houses, and I'd been there for probably about 4 years. It wasn't something I'd always aspired to do, but I spent a lot of time shopping in my youth, so it was kind of an atmosphere that I liked to be in, and I loved perfume and cosmetics and everything.
The things us women have to do. I know.
And I liked working with people, so, you know, you're the front of house working with lots of people and customers, and I enjoyed that.
There was one kind of customer always willing to be taken in hand.
Always helps if you flirt with the men. They spend a lot more money. They didn't know what they wanted. They wanted you to tell them as a girl what you should be buying their girlfriend. So, of course, I showed them the most expensive, beautiful perfumes. You can sell anything to a man.
Men will say, what pulls the women?
Yeah, that's it. And if you're saying you like it, then they buy it.
There were other people who needed taking in hand at Lakeside, but this time by the firm hand of the law.
Hugh, Colin and Phil at Mech 6.
Lakeside had its own police station to deal with some of its less desirable visitors.
He's lost it, hasn't he?
The docu-soap would feature the less than glamorous day-to-day grind of police work through the eyes of a fresh-faced new rookie. No, not him.
No, we're going to make inquiries from here with these forged notes. Where would you steal those from?
No, when I knew that the cameras are coming, I just thought, oh, I just know what's going to happen. I'm the youngest female officer here, and I know that it's just going to be me, and I was just thinking, oh, no.
Steve, we'll put a call in from here. He's in H. Samuel.
And then when they came, that's exactly what happened. I just wanted to get on with my job, really, and not really had to do that.
We'll talk about the carrier bags.
Marianne was far too busy to worry about the cameras as she kept her eye on the criminal element drawn to Lakeside. They knew every trick in the book to make off with things that did not belong to them. Marianne is called in to deal with a girl who has stolen a bottle of perfume.
You had an appointment at 7:30, didn't you? Aussie at 7:30, so whoever Aussie is.
But this was more than just stealing. This was stealing to order, and in bulk.
And it's a list of stuff to sell, list, clothes, cameras. Lakeside by 5, Aussie at 7:30, so whoever Aussie is. So you obviously all thinks she was out to nick today.
It was quite common that people would go out with a shopping list of things to steal because they would arrange what people wanted before and what they knew they could sell on, and they would steal, and when you found them they would have clothes in all different sizes. Then very often you'd find lists with those, you know, people, so.
Is it Kelly or Jason Osborne? Neither?
What are you on about?
Yeah, Aussie. Fibber.
When I walked away after I let out, I sort of mumbled fibber to myself. I wasn't sure whether it would have been picked up, but it clearly was. And my gran said to me afterwards, my nana said, oh, that was so you, Marianne.
But there were some crimes at Lakeside that could shock even the most hardened professional.
One of the other gardeners had a call that come out somebody's been cutting the hedges.
The stolen bushes case has been my nemesis ever since the actual programme went out.
The head gardener wasn't very pleased.
There's another small area just there. I mean, from a distance, you can't see it's been touched.
It's the one that everyone remembers, and everyone, all my colleagues, take the mickey out of me for.
Later that day, the culprit was caught, and Marianne had to deal with him.
I'm really sorry about this.
That's all right.
All right. What I've got is him carving a lump out of the bushes.
Right.
It says to feed his horses.
That's all it is.
Right, can I take your details?
Doesn't matter what you think.
Well, you take the dead bits out and feed it to me horses. I'm doing you a favour.
We had other people phone in to say that actually you couldn't feed them to horses anyway because it would kill the horses, it's poisonous to horses.
Pod load there. Another one there. Another one here.
I've done it before, and as long as I don't pull the plant out of the ground and I don't uproot it, it's not theft. If I stole something, I've stole it, you know, but I haven't, have I? All I've done is trimmed it. It's going to grow again, isn't it? It'll probably grow better and do me a favour.
If this gentleman come and hacked your garden hedges down.
Did it grow again?
Well, yes,
Right,
but you have chopped those down to a couple of inches. No, you listen, you have damaged property that doesn't belong to you. Yes, you have.
He was just one of the world's characters, wasn't he? Bit of a chancer.
The BBC knew that the exciting and turbulent world of the emergency services made good telly. Remember the glossy and dramatic reconstructions of 999?
It was a gas leak that caused the explosion. It killed 2 people and trapped half a dozen others under the wreckage.
Michael Burke fronted this top show in a variety of warm coats, anoraks and woolly jumpers. So imagine the producers' joy when they discovered that one of the store managers at Lakeside was engaged to a hunky paramedic.
We won't have to mess around this. Sludge feet up. Well done. OK, pop your hands across there. Now, I couldn't go into the fire service because I have a terrible fear of heights. I couldn't go into the police force at the time because they had a height limit of about 6 foot, whatever it was at the time. So my next service that I could go for was obviously the ambulance service.
Andreas had no idea what a shift would throw at him. When he was sent to a stabbing incident, he needed police backup.
31-year-old male been glassed in his chest.
Oh, I don't believe this. Now he's calling up for an ambulance, and if it is him, then we want the police there with us because he's likely to get stroppy. Go ahead. The police, more often than not, we don't call them so they can go and arrest anybody. We call the police there for the crew's safety. You know, if we're sending an ambulance crew into a situation and it could potentially be violent, we're not paying the crews to get abused and physically attacked. That's what the police get paid for. Let's have a 3 out of there.
Not being funny, but...
That's all right. What did they do to you? Let's have a look.
Yeah, glass in the face, and as I turned around, he done me in the chest with it.
All right. Is that tape? Is that tape on there? Yeah, coming.
Strangely, when the police arrive, his story changes.
Nothing, I was just having to go to Paul, tripped over.
Excuse me? I only called the ambulance for him.
It's routine, sweetheart.
Listen, what it came across to us was there's a stabbing, love.
It can be frustrating when you go to a situation and people are abusive and volatile, but at the end of the day, the crews are there to help them, and there's no reason to kick off with the crews. So that can be very frustrating. The police come for our benefit.
Andreas had his own way of dealing with tricky situations.
Always look on the bright side of life.
Go ahead. Oh dear, all right, don't worry, look away. Okay.
Why me?
Why you? Could have been worse, it could have been me. If there is actually no real life-threatening emergency going on there, it's great to banter with the members of the public that you deal with, because they then feel secure in the fact that they're dealing with a professional, and it makes it a little bit more light-hearted. They're going through a traumatic time, for them. Yeah, it's quite addictive. We use it all the time. Only joking. You can't just sit in the back of an ambulance, transport them to a hospital and sit there being mute. You have to banter with the people. I think the easiest thing we could possibly do is probably amputate from about here and here. Get a couple of artificial ones. You won't have the problem again, will you?
Andreas may have been clowning around, but he was good at his job, and he always turned up on time. Unlike shop manager Fulvio. All the stores are open, apart from Fulvio's fashion emporium, Chow Chow.
I'm a bit late, and I need to open the shop, yeah?
Fulvio is in denial about the time, as usual.
You mustn't say that, yeah? Right on time. It's not late, so we're gonna open the shop. This way, please.
Even the customers suspected this wasn't the way to run a business.
You was late opening anyway this morning.
Pronto. No, I was not.
Yes, you was. I was sitting out there from 9 o'clock.
The store was struggling to survive, and Fulvio's idea of a store makeover wasn't exactly sophisticated.
So when you walk in, you got ladies on the left and men on the right. Very simple.
Maybe it was because he had his mind on other things.
This lady could be a model, couldn't she? Very tall, pretty. There you go. There you go. See you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. She was nice, wasn't she?
And when a delivery of clothes arrived from Italy, his mind was again on other things.
This is my favourite, Parmesan cheese. Yeah.
It was the job of Lakeside's general manager to get Fulvio to focus on the job in hand.
I'm not there just to sort of be the nasty sort of headmaster and say your shop's not doing it properly. I'm really there to say, can we help you in some way?
At the time, Lakeside was trying to get away from a particular image all too popular in 90s Essex.
I think the white stiletto tag was part of a style of dress that was being viewed that maybe wasn't as tasteful as it might have been. So it was a look.
He's so polite, isn't he? What he's referring to are the Tracys and Sharons with their peroxide hair, orange tans and white stilettos, and the Kevins with their escorts and shell suits.
Chow Chow was cheap and cheerful Rita, but not done well. Interesting character. Sadly, I don't believe he had as much training in retail as potentially he needed. Nice guy, very nice guy, but maybe not right for that job at that time.
We're going to see Mr.
What he means is that Fulvio was about as useful as a rubber spanner. Richard summoned him to a showdown. Richard explained his concerns. Fulvio gave his point of view. It didn't go well.
Oh dear. I think we've got a few problems there, as I suspected. I don't think they are going to survive if they carry on with the sort of mentality, the thinking about their customers and so on. I think we're looking at arrivederci, ciao ciao.
Barco Latino, vero?
Fulvio thought his fancy footwork had saved the day, but then the administrators arrived to close them down.
Unfortunately, that business did go under. He was a lovely fella and you did have sympathy with him, but it wasn't working in the shop.
A little shock at the beginning, but now I'm quite fine. Ciao. That's it.
It was arrivederci, auf Wiedersehen, pet, and anything else that means goodbye, Fulvio. In the tough world of retail, image is everything. And no one knew that more than Emma.
Bit of a shock at the moment.
What was that hair and what was that lipstick?
Emma, it's lovely.
I looked like a clown. Basically, I looked back, I looked like a clown. It was just the most heavy, horrendous makeup, and I could just cry.
We're putting a bit of makeup together. Just my portrait of you.
I might get you to do my makeup, actually.
Do you know how nervous I will be doing your makeup, Emma? Because I know what you like.
We'd go into work, start the day with your makeup on, and as the day went on, you'd pop over to one of the counters and put a bit more lipstick on, and then your friend would be selling a new eyeshadow, so you'd pop a bit of that on, and by the end of the day, your face was double the thickness when you went home. This is the lipstick that I wore when filming Lakesiders. I've had it for 10 years. It's absolutely I wouldn't be seen dead wearing that lipstick now. It's the brightest lipstick. But I've kept it because it makes me laugh. But I wouldn't wear it ever again. I think that I hid behind my makeup. And I think I was so unconfident that I would hide behind that makeup. I think that's definitely what happened.
Andreas, the ambulance driver, had no problem with confidence. He loved being centre stage.
It's no good hiding under that silver foil. I had auditions with the National Youth Theatre, to which I was successful. We're either going to put you in the oven and roast you. At the time, my father convinced me that there was no money in acting and to actually go out and get an apprenticeship, which is what I ended up doing. All right, over. That's why I think I'm a bit of a frustrated actor, if you like.
Being on Lakesiders gave Andreas the opportunity to play to his very own audience.
You can either sit down on there till we go and get a trolley, or I'll throw you over my shoulder. You don't often get the opportunity to do things like this, and I jumped at it with both feet, if you like. Hobble back and we'll sit you down on that bench. I was under no illusions that I would be camera shy. I've never been camera shy. I've never been shy in coming forward, and I've always, I've said what I think at the time. They look vicious with them brackets, don't they? As we left, they all started clapping, and so, yeah, everyone was having fun. Apart from the patient, of course, but she was okay. Thank you, thank you. The genuine people that you go out and help, there's a real buzz at the end of it, that knowing that actually you've helped them, and without your help there, they would be in trouble. So that's what I enjoy out of it, giving something back, if you like. Everyone should have, what is it they say, 15 minutes of fame. I think sort of eight programmes later and 8 months of filming, I had my 15 minutes. So I'll be in on Saturday anyway, just to catch up.
But when the cameras left Lakeside and his 15 minutes were over, what happened to Andreas? And why is he wearing a lavender shirt?
Keep up the Norfolk stuff, boys, well done. My role in the ambulance service now is one of the senior control managers in the ambulance control room up in Norfolk.
That means he's the boss.
The difference between what I did 9 years ago in a green outfit is the fact that I'm now in a shirt, I'm in a tie. I have a great team of 80 staff who work with me.
Does she have a history of heart problems?
It doesn't matter whether I'm in a shirt or I'm in a tie or I'm in the greens. The fact is that I still love it and we all have fun.
She may have lacked Andreas's confidence, but Emma's hidden talent was about to be revealed to 10 million viewers.
Never ever have I had to find. I've had to dig away to find my own peace of mind. I never ever had my conscience.
I remember singing when I was, really, really young. My mum says when I was 2, I was like harmonising to songs and just just singing all the time, constantly. Always, pretending to be on stage with my hairbrush and just from very early on.
Actually, this is better than my microphone. It's nice and warm.
I was in all the school plays. I was Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz and that kind of thing when I was 12. And, so I was always involved in that when I was at school. I'd always fantasised about being a pop star. Lots of kids have that dream, and I was one of them. I definitely wanted to be a pop star.
There was one person this aspiring singer idolised more than any other. No, not Judy Garland. It was Sheena Easton. Sheena who, you may be asking? Well, for any of you under 30, she was a sweet-natured girl from Glasgow who hit the big time in 1980.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone.
Before Pop Idol was even thought of, she was plucked from obscurity and given a record contract.
I still can't quite believe that it's happening.
The Glasgow girl next door was tweaked, prodded and moulded. New hair, new clothes, new makeup, photographed by the top names in showbiz and re-emerged unrecognisable as the ultimate 80s girl.
She is free to be what she wants to be. All she wants to be is a modern girl. Na, 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 na.
She was who I wanted to be back then, and I remember my dad bringing home a tape of her album and thinking it was just the most amazing gift to receive because she was just so fabulous and I wanted to be her.
Emma had agreed to sing at a charity event, and of course the TV crew came along. This was just what the nation needed to see. Could she be the next Sheena Easton, making it big on primetime television? It had all the makings of TV gold.
I never did anything towards making it happen. It was just something that I dreamed of.
But there was one tiny problem.
I knew I could sing. I didn't doubt I could sing, but I just wasn't very confident. I was quite nervous, and if I had to sing in front of somebody, I found it really difficult.
When you're gonna take me out of this black hole.
And people always said to me, "You've got a really good voice." But you watch the X Factor and their friends tell them they've got great voices and they can't sing a note, so who knows? It's kind of like there's two halves of me. One half of me really wanted to do it, but the other half of me found it really hard. It was that kind of awkwardness of my body and just feeling uncomfortable. What do I do with myself? And am I good enough? And all of these things going through my head instead of actually just getting up there and enjoying it. And I think after a while I did. I think the first couple of songs were quite painful for me, which are the ones that were filmed. And then after that I relaxed and enjoyed myself, which is what it's all about.
Ooh, you can ride it in a letter, babe, 'cause I really need to know.
This was Emma's first ever public performance, and in spite of terrible shyness and a film crew, she eventually got into her stride.
It was just that first initial song that was quite painfully scary. But then I did enjoy it because I saw that they were enjoying themselves, so I was feeding from their reaction, definitely.
Back on the mean streets of Lakeside, WPC Marianne was the star turn.
Have you got any identification on you at all?
No, at home, yeah.
At home. Jump in there.
No matter how big or how bad the people she had to deal with, no one got the better of Marianne. In fact, no one got a word in edgeways.
Well, I don't believe a word you're saying,
Yeah.
all right? What do you know about that? Don't know anything? No, he's given a different surname for you.
He's going to get nicked for theft in a minute. I just thought, oh, you're so stroppy. You're so feisty and stroppy. And it's a bit embarrassing, really, because you don't realise that you come across necessarily like that.
Whose card number is that on those receipts?
Oh, it's friend, just friend.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, you're not to use somebody else's card, are you? So what we're going to have to do
Yeah.
is take the property and your friend's going to have to come and collect it. You're just going to stand around here a minute. I'll talk to you both. Right, from what's happened today, we're going to arrest you both on suspicion of deception.
Being a young female and not being particularly large stature, especially at the time, I was smaller then even than I am now, sometimes if you dealt with men and that, they would try and run roughshod over you because they thought they could.
No talking, no talking. You're going with this gentleman, you're going with this gentleman.
It can be a bit like talking to children because sometimes adults unfortunately behave like children.
No talking.
There was a surprising upside to all Marianne's efforts.
All the security activity that was shown at the time on the series had a hugely positive impact to the extent that in the following year, crime actually plummeted.
Bless him.
Marianne was delighted when the cameras following her were finally switched off. She continued working at Lakeside and then worked her way up to acting detective inspector at the Essex Police Training College. There, she's been shaping the next generation of rookies. But sadly, that's the last that Essex will see of WPC Marianne.
My police career is about to change quite dramatically. I'm about to emigrate to New Zealand in a couple of weeks, really, a few weeks now.
After falling in love with New Zealand on a holiday, she decided that was the place for her new life. But she's not going on her own.
I'm going with my husband. He's going to be a police officer in New Zealand as well. We're taking our dogs with us, so they're very special also, and setting up a new life. These are my furry children, unfortunately. It's very sad, I know, but they mean an awful lot to us, which is why we're paying lots of money to take you to New Zealand, isn't it? Yes, I know, darling. And buy you a big garden to run around in. Thought I was going to be an emotional wreck. I'm very bad at saying goodbye, but actually, at the moment, I'm fine. I think it's just too busy to think about it.
Really hugely looking forward to it. Very excited about the move.
We've taken stuff with us because we're going to be in new surroundings with a new job and everything. It would be nice to have something familiar when you get there. If I get asked in New Zealand to do a docu-soap, I will be saying no. Although I'd anticipate they wouldn't want me now because I'm not the young female anymore. I'd be the old sweat amongst everyone. So, yeah, they wouldn't want me now anyway. It'd be fine.
Next time, we meet the love of Andreas's life as wedding bells ring on Lakesiders.
If it's not on the playlist, why are you playing it? I think it's a good song, and
And we meet a couple who just can't get along.
Her words, quote, "You are doing your own private pirate plays."
And there's more from the Lakesiders coming up next on BBC Two.